But I wanted to point this out really quick because this was some of the most weirdest, feminist, nasty agenda I've ever seen put on ESPN.
Did ESPN try to cover something up? Brand new deleted footage unveils Elle Duncan's jaw-dropping response to Caitlin Clark's NBA three-point contest rejection, and it's even more explosive than expected. Although ESPN swiftly removed Duncan's contentious remarks from their YouTube channel, we've got the original footage that exposes the full story.
Now, if you all don't know, there is a silent kind of behind-the-scenes war going on with new people covering the WNBA and old people covering the WNBA. And, you know, a lot of the old WNBA people don't want the new people to be covering the WNBA, right? And going into this, I would definitely say Elle Duncan is a part of the old WNBA coverage team.
The rift between traditional and modern WNBA media coverage has reached a critical tipping point, and Duncan's remarks on Clark's decision could be the most polarizing take this year. Let's unpack what ESPN might be trying to keep under wraps.
Elle Duncan comes in with her disturbing, nasty take of this whole thing. Basically trying to make Caitlin Clark's decision a nasty feminist FU to the NBA. It's ridiculous, man.
The WNBA universe is buzzing right now, and what just unfolded on ESPN's First Take might be one of the most eye-opening moments in recent sports journalism. I'm here to break it all down, because this isn't merely about a removed clip. It's about a long-standing divide in women's basketball coverage. Picture this. ESPN airs a routine First Take segment discussing Caitlin Clark's decision to decline an invitation to the NBA's three-point contest. At first glance, it seems like standard fare, right? But here's the twist. A crucial piece of footage mysteriously vanished when ESPN uploaded the segment to YouTube. Trust me, once you hear what Elle Duncan had to say in that missing clip, you'll understand why this is sparking such intense debate. Stick with me as we uncover the full story.
Just stick with me. This is the original content posted on YouTube. Just stick with me.
Games, and I've seen a lot of games, women's basketball games.
And they competed.
Arike Ogunbowale got MVP. She had a crazy second half. Everyone competed. People are starting to appreciate the women's game for that approach because we understand what's at stake in this moment. And for Caitlin Clark to have the awareness to drive the eyeballs there, you have to give her so much credit for that.
Okay, you saw how it skipped right there? That is where Elle Duncan came in with her crazy, asinine state.
Let's begin with what everyone witnessed. The segment opens as expected with Stephen A. Smith and Chiney Ogwumika discussing Clark's decision. Chiney's insights were nothing short of brilliant. She emphasized the fiercely competitive nature of last year's WNBA All-Star game, underscored the elite level of play in women's basketball, and made her points without alienating anyone. It was a masterclass in championing women's sports while forging connections rather than burning bridges. Then came Elle Duncan's segment, the very part ESPN tried to keep out of the spotlight. I managed to secure the original TV footage, and believe me, it's incredibly revealing. Duncan wasn't just providing commentary, she was pushing what many are calling a concerning and divisive feminist agenda that completely misread the situation.
Caitlin Clark, to have the awareness to drive the eyeballs there, you have to give her so much credit for that.
Then the reason why today, the reason why is because these women know that every opportunity they have on this platform, they have to ball out because they have to completely turn around tropes or ideas or narratives or discourse. Like all of that is always on their shoulders, which is why not only do I think that this move by Caitlin Clark is the right move, I think it's incredibly empowering.
Elle Duncan doesn't stop there. She just goes on and on. You can tell the jealousy is real. This is more than just reporting. It looks like pure hatred to me. Let's get right back into it.
Because Stephen A., when we watched that three-point contest last year in the NBA, and we all enjoyed it, and it was so much fun, what did immediately those of us in the W space say? All right, Steph, now return the favor and go do the same thing at the W, right? In years past, for generations past, women had to legitimize being mainstream by being validated in a male space.
Wow, this is truly something. What are your thoughts on this speech so far? Let me know in the comments below. And now let's continue.
And now Caitlin Clark is saying that my power and cachet is not for loan. I am going to go and improve the league that I believe in and care in. And the idea that she said, I'm going to make sure the first three-point contest I participate in will be the W one. She didn't do it last year. Lord knows she was tired and didn't want to, right? Like it took everything she had just to get through that game, and she was fantastic. But I love this, and what I hope it does, listen, Caitlin Clark is a one-of-one in many ways, and we understand that. So not everybody has that ability, that cachet and all that clout to move the needle, to draw those kinds of ratings. But what I hope that it does is empower the next generation, the Paige Beckers, the Juju Watkins behind her, the Hannah.
Duncan's commentary takes an even more controversial turn when she implies that rising stars like Juju Watkins and Hailey Van Lith should mimic Clark by refusing to participate in mainstream male-centered events. This is where the issue deepens. She's essentially promoting a form of segregation in basketball coverage, when what we really need to be focusing on is integration and mutual support.
I'm so tired of it. It just makes no sense to me, and I'm tired that we keep giving it so much energy, and I'm tired of it being people who are not in this circle or space at all who suddenly have all these opinions about how these women need to treat Caitlin Clark. What do you want from them? They want to beat her because she's not on their team. Isn't that how it's supposed to be? Yeah. Y'all stop it. We already know she's transformational. They've all said it. How many times do they gotta say it?
Let's unpack why this perspective is so off the mark. For starters, the NBA and WNBA share a mutually beneficial relationship. The NBA not only helps subsidize the WNBA, but also supplies essential infrastructure, marketing support, and overall momentum to grow women's basketball. With NBA Commissioner Adam Silver standing as one of the league's most vocal advocates, reducing this partnership to a gender war isn't just misguided. It could actually hurt the very league Duncan claims to support. Think back to when Sabrina Ionescu participated in the NBA three-point contest. That event wasn't merely a win for the NBA, it served as a massive boost for the WNBA as well. Ionescu's appearance attracted new fans, spiked Liberty jersey sales, and elevated the profile of the women's game. Yet, according to Duncan's narrative, that move was somehow a bid for male validation. The frustrating part is her complete dismissal of the storied history of WNBA stars, who forged their legacies solely on the strength of women's basketball. While Duncan argues that male validation is necessary for the sport's legitimacy, icons like Maya Moore and Lisa Leslie have long proven that their incredible achievements speak for themselves. What's even more telling is ESPN's decision to remove this segment from their YouTube channel. This action clearly indicates that they recognized how incendiary and potentially damaging Duncan's comments could be. Fortunately, thanks to viewers who recorded the live broadcast, we can examine exactly what was said and have a genuine conversation about it. The timing of this controversy is critical. Women's basketball is in a golden era, with stars like Caitlin Clark drawing record crowds and generating unprecedented excitement. The last thing the sport needs is divisive rhetoric from someone who's supposed to be one of its biggest media advocates.
Caitlin Clark, she declined an invitation to participate in a special challenge during NBA All-Star Weekend next month. That's what Shams reported on Wednesday. Now, Clark's representatives, they expressed her desire to have her first three-point contest be at the WNBA All-Star in Indianapolis this summer. Shanae, I'm not mad at it. What do you make of this decision?
Look, I not only respect it, I absolutely wholeheartedly support.
Well, it's official, you guys. Caitlin Clark is not competing in the three-point contest at NBA All-Star.
What happens when the biggest star in women's basketball says no to the NBA? Caitlin Clark, a record-breaking force and trailblazer on the court, just did exactly that. In a move that's sparking controversy and shaking up sports media, Clark turned down an invitation to join the NBA's three-point contest at All-Star Weekend. Rather than stepping into the spotlight as the NBA's special attraction, she's making a bold statement about where true recognition belongs. Stay tuned as we dive into how this decision is flipping the script and what it means for the future of the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark knows how to use the word that many people struggle all their lives being able to use. Some of us never get it till we're old and just don't care no more. The word, take a guess. Take a guess.
Controversy, debate, and, of course, ESPN's outrage. Caitlin Clark, the beacon of the WNBA's future, has just declined an invitation to participate in the NBA's three-point contest at All-Star Weekend.
Well, it has just been confirmed from Shams that Caitlin Clark will not be competing in the NBA three-point contest. Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark will not participate in the NBA All-Star Special three-point shootout in San Francisco and wants her first three-point contest to be at WNBA All-Star in Indianapolis this summer. Her representatives at Excel Sports.
Rather than celebrating her choice, the sports media exploded into chaos. Some argue she's simply dodging the competition, while others believe she's boldly championing the WNBA. So what's the true story behind her decision, and why is ESPN so incensed? Stick around because we're unpacking every detail right now. All right, let's jump in. The Caitlin Clark saga has been dominating headlines nonstop. In case you haven't caught wind of it, Caitlin Clark, the undeniable superstar of women's basketball, recently declined an invitation to compete in the NBA's three-point contest during this year's All-Star Weekend. And wow, opinions are flying everywhere. From ESPN to NBA fans and WNBA supporters, everyone is weighing in as the debate continues to heat up.
The momentum that Caitlin Clark has this season, with her being close to being the face of basketball, both men's and women's this year, I just thought it was the perfect stage. And then obviously, the possibility of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson teaming up once again back in Golden State and doing that home reunion thing, and then having Sabrina and Caitlin. To me, it just sounded like so much fun, and it would definitely bring a little spark to NBA All-Star that NBA All-Star, unfortunately, hasn't.
Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark is the biggest name in women's basketball right now. She's more than just a player. She's a phenomenon. Every time she steps onto the court, she shatters records, fills arenas, and pulls in huge TV audiences. So when she decided to pass on the NBA's invitation, it wasn't just a scheduling conflict, it was a powerful statement. One that clearly caught ESPN and many sports analysts off guard. So what prompted her to make this call? Is she intimidated by the competition? Did she miscalculate? Or is she strategically setting the stage for the future, making a power move that still has many scratching their heads?
Is another testament to where she is in the hierarchy of the sports food chain and, the ladder of power and influence. Because Caitlin Clark is Steph Curry and LeBron James. Like, she's, there's no difference. A great philosopher once said there's levels to this. She's on that.
Here's the reality about Caitlin Clark. She knows exactly what she's worth. She's not just some player thrilled to get an invite to a high-profile event. She understands that wherever she goes, the cameras roll, the money flows, and the fans rally. So when the opportunity to participate in an NBA event came along, she didn't jump at it like a rookie trying to prove herself. Instead, she made it clear, "Thanks, but I'll pass. I'll host my first three-point contest on my own terms, in my own league."
You see Caitlin Clark using her power to benefit the WNBA, saying, not that she'd never do anything with the NBA, but that she's not going to do it this time because the first time should be with the WNBA in front of the Fever fans.
And that's exactly what's setting off a firestorm of reactions. For years, women's basketball players have been fighting tooth and nail for recognition, respect, and financial support. The WNBA has long been cast in the shadow of the NBA, and whenever a female athlete earns a smidgen of mainstream acclaim, there's this lingering expectation that she should be grateful for even the smallest scraps of attention from the men's league. But Caitlin Clark isn't subscribing to that narrative, she's rewriting it. She made it abundantly clear that she wants her inaugural three-point contest to take place at the WNBA All-Star Game, right in front of her hometown fans in Indiana. And let's be real, that's a savvy move. Why settle for being the NBA's special guest when she can be the headliner of her own show? Why help prop up the NBA's All-Star Weekend ratings when she can shine the spotlight on the WNBA instead? Of course, not everyone is on board with her decision. The moment she turned down the offer, sports analysts went into overdrive. ESPN pundits began to debate whether she was making a grave error, questioning her judgment, while the usual skeptics claimed she was merely dodging competition. Dodging competition? Come on. Caitlin Clark has never shied away from a challenge. She's been demolishing defenses and shattering records her entire career. If she really wanted to join the NBA's three-point contest, she'd be more than capable of holding her own. But that's precisely the point. She refused because she knows her worth, and she refuses to let others call the shots for her. Stephen A. Smith, as per usual, had a lot to say on the matter. For once, he actually backed Clark's decision, though not without throwing in some of his trademark commentary. He noted that last year's WNBA All-Star Game smashed records by drawing in 3.4 million viewers, while the NBA's All-Star Game struggled to hit numbers anywhere near its former glory. The NBA's All-Star Weekend has been losing its luster, no secret there, and it's obvious they were banking on Caitlin Clark to give them a ratings boost. Let's break that down for a moment. The NBA isn't exactly at its prime during All-Star Weekend. The dunk contest has lost its charm, and even the All-Star Game itself is treated more like a casual exhibition than a true contest. Viewership has been on a steady decline, and the overall energy just isn't what it used to be. So when Caitlin Clark enters the picture, a player who's been single-handedly driving TV ratings through the roof and filling arenas, it's clear the NBA saw a golden opportunity. And frankly, from their standpoint, it made total sense. Imagine the buzz. Caitlin Clark going head-to-head with the NBA's best in a three-point contest. The intrigue alone would pull in millions of viewers, but that's exactly why she declined. She recognized that she was being positioned merely as a ratings tool, and she wasn't about to let that happen. Let's not kid ourselves. If she had accepted, the aftermath would have been just as contentious, albeit for different reasons. A win might have been dismissed as merely a shooting contest, not genuine competition. A loss would have fueled claims that the WNBA just can't compare to the NBA. There was no scenario in which she could emerge unscathed in that setup. Instead, she delivered a bold message. The WNBA matters. She's not a novelty act or a side attraction for the NBA's All-Star Weekend. She's the star of her own league. This move might just be one of the most significant power plays we've seen from a women's basketball player in a long time. It's not about avoiding one contest. It's about transforming the narrative around the WNBA. For too long, critics have argued that women's sports depend on the men's leagues to survive, that without the NBA's support, the WNBA couldn't flourish. But Caitlin Clark is proving that theory wrong. She's driving ticket sales, setting new records, and making women's basketball a must-watch spectacle all on its own. Consider this. Just last year, the WNBA saw a surge in both viewership and merchandise sales. The Indiana Fever, the team Clark plays for, accounted for nearly half of the league's entire broadcast value. Half. That's a staggering figure, and it's all thanks to her influence. She's demonstrating that the WNBA doesn't need to rely on the NBA's leftovers to thrive. It can stand tall with its own stars, its own storylines, and its own dedicated fan base. That's why this decision is so monumental. She's setting a new standard. She's telling the next generation of female athletes, you don't have to latch onto the men's league for validation. You can be the main event in your own right. And the impact is already evident. What began as a decision over a three-point contest has blossomed into a full-blown conversation about the future of women's basketball. That's the magnitude of her influence. So yes, ESPN might be seething, the NBA might feel let down, and some fans might be left scratching their heads. But Caitlin Clark is in complete control of her narrative. She's playing the long game, building something far bigger than a single contest. And honestly, you have to respect that.
First person I can honestly say that looks like Steph Curry. Like, she's not guardable right now, and she can hit almost any shot from the outside.
Almost any. How much of a power she is out there on the court. The cool part is the way that she plays and her range and the level of difficulty on her shots is obviously a very close comparison.
From long-range shots to lasting influence, Caitlin Clark isn't just setting records, she's shattering them. Surpassing even Steph Curry's iconic three-point average, she's reshaping the future of basketball. But what happens when Caitlin Clark crosses paths with Steph Curry's legacy?
Do you think Caitlin Clark could beat Steph Curry in a three-point contest?
That's tough. Shooters can have an off night. You just never know. Caitlin has no conscience where she pulls from.
Steph has no conscience where he pulls from.
Been doing it for a long time, so can never go against Steph. Steph has been doing it for a long time.
Recently, Caitlin Clark has solidified her place in basketball history, and it's not just because of her scoring ability, it's where she scores from. New stats show that Caitlin Clark now holds the record for the longest average three-point range, an incredible 28 feet.
I think the WNBA narrative right now is Caitlin Clark, and I think that's a good narrative, but it's also not the only narrative. Caitlin is an amazing generational talent, and she's going to do amazing things. You're the #1 pick. People are going to go after.
This remarkable accomplishment not only surpasses the previous record held by NBA legend Steph Curry, but it also sets a new, higher standard for shooting excellence in basketball. By pushing the boundaries of what was once thought possible, Caitlin Clark has redefined the range at which players can score, inspiring future generations to aim even further.
Do I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark?
I think I'll just be the female version of Steph.
At just 22 years old, Clark's achievement is far more than a statistical outlier. It's a reflection of her unmatched skill, court awareness, and unshakable confidence. As the all-time leading scorer in college basketball, regardless of gender, she has already left an indelible mark on the game. With her new record-breaking 28-foot average, Caitlin Clark has not just added a new statistic to her resume, she's fundamentally redefined what it means to be a sharpshooter in the modern era. To put her accomplishment into perspective, Steph Curry, widely considered the greatest shooter in basketball history, boasts a three-point range averaging around 27 feet. At the time, that seemed untouchable. Curry's range revolutionized the game, sparking an era of deep shooting and permanently changing the way basketball is played. But now, Caitlin Clark has pushed that boundary even further, raising the bar to new heights.
I love me some Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter in the history of basketball.
However, Clark has taken that revolution even further, stretching the boundaries of possibility with an additional foot of range that makes her a constant threat the moment she crosses half court. This is no accident. Clark's shooting range is the result of years of dedicated training, an innate basketball IQ, and an unwavering competitive spirit. Her shooting form is a perfect balance of precision and power, enabling her to effortlessly launch shots from well beyond the arc. But what truly sets her apart is her fearlessness. Clark isn't afraid to take shots from distances most players wouldn't even think about. Whether it's a contested 3 in the final seconds of a game or a casual pull-up from 30 feet on the fast break, she makes what seems impossible look completely effortless.
Shout out to Caitlin Clark. She's a certified bucket. To quote Shaq, I was not familiar with her game. I respect her game. She's a fucking baller. She was pulling up like Steph Curry from deep. But I just got one question. Matt, do you think you can beat Caitlin Clark in one-on-one?
Absolutely not. Nobody
crazy.
Here can.
I'm busting her ass. You wild. Shit. You wild, bro.
This record also speaks volumes about the evolution of women's basketball. Clark's success stands as a powerful testament to how the game has progressed, with athletes consistently pushing the limits of what's possible on the court. Her remarkable shooting range has drawn comparisons to Curry, but it has also established her as a trailblazer in her own right, showing that women's basketball is just as dynamic, innovative, and game-changing as the men's game.
I think Steph Curry made the WNBA watchable.
Caitlin Clark, baby.
The way that Caitlin Clark was playing was a very digestible form of basketball. But now this girl out of nowhere is playing like Steph, and it was still digestible.
Meanwhile, Clark has reached this milestone in an era where defenders are more focused than ever on limiting long-range threats. Opponents specifically game plan to neutralize her, yet she continues to excel, constantly finding ways to create space and sink one clutch shot after another from deep. Her 28-foot average isn't just a number, it's a declaration of dominance. As Caitlin Clark keeps breaking records and exceeding expectations, the basketball world is left to wonder just how much further she can push the boundaries of shooting.
Is there anybody in the NBA under the age of 30 that's a bigger name, bigger jaw, bigger star than Caitlin Clark?
For now, one thing is clear. Clark has not only surpassed Steph Curry's legendary mark, but has firmly established herself as one of the most transformative figures in basketball. Her 28-foot average three-point range is more than just a record, it's the foundation of a legacy in the making. Caitlin Clark isn't just redefining the game of basketball, she's reshaping its entire business model. The sharpshooting sensation, already celebrated for her historic three-point average that outpaces even Curry, is demonstrating that her influence extends far beyond the court.
I mean, honestly, $1,000 for a family of 4 to go to a WNBA game. That seems wild. It really does. The Clark effect.
Clark now represents an incredible 1/4 of all WNBA merchandise and ticket sales. This remarkable achievement highlights her power to attract fans, drive revenue, and become a true game changer for women's sports. Moreover, in a league that has long battled for visibility and equality, Clark has sparked an unprecedented wave of fan engagement. From jerseys bearing her name to arenas packed with fans chanting in her honor, Clark is more than just a player, she's become a movement.
Caitlin Clark, her style of play it's not just her individually as a person or what skin color she is. I think it's, more so about her style of play, her playing.
According to reports, her merchandise sales alone make up nearly 25% of the WNBA's total revenue in this category, an extraordinary figure that speaks to her unmatched popularity. Whether it's fans buying her iconic number 22 jersey or scooping up exclusive Caitlin Clark-themed collectibles, her appeal is undeniable. The same goes for ticket sales. Clark's games are an event, consistently attracting record-breaking crowds.
Bleacher Report posted a quote that said, "I played my last game in Dallas." Did you really say that?
I know. I'm sad about it though. I like the fans, I'm a fan, but
that's it. That's it. Time to move on.
After weeks of intense speculation, Satou Sabally has finally addressed her free agency status, unveiling a series of unexpected developments and bold decisions that could redefine her WNBA career. What's driving this intriguing move? Let's uncover the story behind her fascinating choice.
Of moving with a potentially different shoe brand, but also the decision to change teams. Yeah, so I'll be a free agent this year, and oh my god, I feel like this is just super exciting. So
in a highly anticipated live stream, Satou Sabally finally shared news that has fans buzzing with excitement and speculation. Displaying her trademark grace and composure, Sabally announced that she had officially played her final game with the Dallas Wings, marking the end of her chapter with the team.
What team am I going to, Taylor?
I don't want to say no names. Hey, I just want to say.
Don't say anything. That's
I don't
what
say no names. No, but we don't know yet. We don't know yet, but.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Just know wherever Satou ends up at, ring incoming. Ring incoming.
In a highly anticipated live stream, Satou Sabally delivered news that has fans buzzing with excitement and speculation. With her characteristic grace and poise, Sabally announced that she had officially played her final game with the Dallas Wings, signaling the conclusion of her journey with the team. We got Satou Sabally trending on X. Come to the fever. We got the motion. Satou's star power, plus her German flair, plus Caitlin Clark connections equals untold endorsement wealth. So the Dallas Wings have lost Satou Sabally. Well, she's gone. Sabally's announcement was clear, yet rich with underlying meaning, particularly when she addressed the rampant speculation about her next destination. While many assumed she was headed to the Chicago Sky, Sabally clarified the situation unequivocally. She had reportedly declined the opportunity to join Chicago.
Unrestricted free agent, the Chicago Sky do have some of the most cap space in the league this offseason. Should the Chicago Sky target Satou?
100% yes. There's no doubt about it. She's easily, if not number one, on the free market list.
The motivations behind her decision remain unclear, but her opting out of joining the Sky has only heightened the speculation surrounding her future. Since then, rumors have taken off, with one particular storyline especially capturing the interest of both fans and analysts alike.
Let's talk about travel. Let's talk about charter. Let's talk about the WNBA. We would save days. Yes, I hate to make excuses that we're tired, but reducing travel time increases recovery time. It increases just time to be able to eat, sit, be away from light that hinders you from actually getting a good night rest and sleep, scientifically proven.
The chatter indicates that Sabally may be heading to the Indiana Fever, where she could team up with the emerging star Caitlin Clark. This potential alliance has the ingredients of a game-changing synergy, poised to shift the league's power dynamics significantly. Sabally's versatile skill set and sharp court vision, paired with Clark's scoring prowess and relentless tenacity, could elevate the Fever to new heights. This move is sure to unsettle players like Diana Taurasi, Aja Wilson, and Angel Reese, leaving them upset and stressed. And let's not overlook how much Cheryl Swoops disapproves of this possible partnership.
In an unrivaled press interview, she goes to state, "I've already communicated with Dallas how grateful I am because they've made this a home for me for the past years, and I'm working with them together in finding the next home for me because I've already played my last game in Dallas." Wow. So what does this mean? Well, Dallas Wings will undoubtedly court her, which means they're going to be looking for some sort of a sign-and trade.
The potential move for Sabally to the Indiana Fever is intriguing for multiple reasons. Firstly, it would position her as a leader on a team with significant upward momentum. The Fever have been undergoing a rebuilding phase and are demonstrating promising signs, and incorporating a player of Sabally's caliber could expedite their rise. Additionally, teaming up with Clark, a standout who has garnered national attention for her stellar performances, could form a powerful backcourt that opponents would find daunting. Although Sabally has not yet confirmed or dismissed these rumors, the anticipation surrounding the possibility is intense. Fans are closely monitoring her every action, analyzing each statement and gesture for hints about her next career move.
I'll add something to that too. You know, when I was driving to the game today, obviously it's annoying because there were way too many Caitlin fans and I heard. But like, it just kudos because it's amazing to see so many people in women's basketball jerseys. It's amazing to see the excitement and the joy that comes out of that. So although I feel like our Dallas fans could have done better, I had mixed feelings obviously seeing all the Caitlin jerseys in our home, but it's an amazing sign for women's basketball.
Despite the swirling rumors, one thing remains clear. Satou Sabally's next move will be one of the WNBA offseason's most highly anticipated decisions. Sabally's influence and presence are sure to make a significant impact in the league. Whether she chooses to join Caitlin Clark in Indiana or takes a different path, we can only watch and wait as this exciting chapter of her career unfolds. In a sports world often riddled with competition and envy, Satou Sabally has distinguished herself as a trailblazer, not only through her exceptional gameplay, but also through her unique perspective. When Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise captured the attention of basketball fans nationwide, not everyone was pleased. Satou Sabally's decision to openly support Caitlin Clark was both refreshing and unexpected. At a time when many were focused on comparing statistics or lamenting their own lack of similar recognition, Sabally saw the bigger picture. She understood that Clark's impact on the sport went beyond individual accolades, contributing to the elevation of women's basketball as a whole. Instead of giving in to underlying jealousy, Sabally expressed her gratitude for what Clark brought to the game, a surge of energy, visibility, and enthusiasm that women's basketball desperately needed. Get ready, WNBA fans, because the season just delivered one of its most electrifying finales yet. As the curtains close on this year's action-packed games, Phoenix Mercury's standout Sophie Cunningham, teammate of the legendary Diana Taurasi, has sparked intense conversations with her bold comments about Caitlin Clark that have everyone buzzing. But that's only scratching the surface. Caitlin Clark didn't just shine this season, she redefined what's possible on the court. From shattered records and jaw-dropping plays, to leading the Indiana Fever through an unexpected transformation, her impact was undeniable. And here's the twist. Some of the league's seasoned veterans are feeling the heat. Yes, you heard right. This rising star made such waves that it stirred the egos of established stars. Stay tuned as we break down all the highlights and dive into Cunningham's remarks that have everyone talking. In a recent interview, Sophie shared this eye-opening insight about Caitlin Clark.
But I think they've done a great job in the league as well. I think the physicality and all that they're going to get used to, but I think especially Caitlin Clark, she's been killing it. And I'm a huge fan, and I never say that, but I think it's fun what she's doing.
Can you believe what's unfolding in the WNBA? A seasoned teammate of the legendary Diana Taurasi is openly lauding a rookie, and that's a rare sight in the league. Sophie Cunningham isn't stopping there. She went on to say, when it comes to viewership, man, I think a lot of people have a lot to learn about our league. But I think that's a really fun thing. If you have anything negative to say about the viewership and everything this rookie class is doing, I just think you're not capitalizing on it and you might be a little jealous. Sophie just unleashed a bombshell against anyone criticizing Caitlin Clark's success and her fellow rookies. Essentially, she's arguing that if you're not thrilled about the league's growth, the issue lies with you. But why is Sophie, an established player, so passionately defending Caitlin Clark and the new rookies? The answer is straightforward: impact. Clark isn't just excelling on the court, she's reshaping the perception of the WNBA. Since her debut, viewership has surged. Stadiums that once had empty seats are now buzzing with fans. People aren't just tuning in to Indiana Fever games. They're buying tickets, jerseys, and buzzing about the WNBA on social media like never before. And here's the kicker. Clark is achieving all this as a rookie. She didn't need years to adapt or build a fan base. She arrived and is already a force to be reckoned with. That's why Sophie and other insightful players recognize that Clark's success translates to the WNBA's success as a whole. But Clark's influence goes beyond scoring. She's redefining the point guard role in the WNBA. Her assists are masterpieces. She spots angles that others miss and delivers passes that leave commentators in awe. The craziest part? She's doing all this while facing defenses specifically designed to stop her. Entire teams have had to rethink their strategies just to contain Caitlin Clark, yet she continues to dominate. This is why veterans like Sophie Cunningham are so impressed. Clark isn't just playing well, she's changing the game, forcing teams and players to adapt and elevate the entire league. Now, let's dive into what Cunningham mentioned that's stirring up the league, the jealousy and criticism targeting Caitlin Clark. It sounds unbelievable, right? A rookie shaking up the league to the point of making veterans envious? But that's the reality. Some players and fans are complaining about the spotlight Clark is stealing, claiming it overshadows more experienced players. But let's be honest, this is pure jealousy. As Sophie Cunningham aptly pointed out, those who gripe about Clark's visibility aren't capitalizing on it and might just be a little envious. And she's spot on. Clark's success doesn't take away from any other player's value. In fact, increased attention benefits everyone in the WNBA. More fans mean more revenue, which can lead to higher salaries, better playing conditions, and more opportunities for all players. Clark is expanding the league's market, attracting new fans who might never have watched a WNBA game before. Once hooked, these fans aren't just following Clark, they're discovering all the incredible talent the league has to offer. That's why savvy players like Cunningham are embracing the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. They understand that a rising tide lifts all boats. Clark's triumphs are the WNBA's triumphs. And let's face it, Clark deserves all the hype. She's not just racking up numbers, she's redefining what's possible in women's basketball. Her passes, court vision, and scoring ability are at a level rarely seen from a rookie. So to those feeling jealous or critical, here's some advice. Instead of complaining, ride the wave. Use this surge in attention to showcase your own talents. Because what Caitlin Clark is doing is opening doors for all WNBA players. Moreover, Clark's impact on the WNBA's popularity is likely to keep rising. We're already witnessing a significant boost in viewership and fan engagement. If this trend continues, we could be on the verge of a new golden era for professional women's basketball, leading to more investments in the league, better contracts for players, increased media coverage, and possibly even expansion to new cities. The possibilities are endless. Additionally, Clark is inspiring the next generation. How many young athletes are watching her now, dreaming of becoming the next Caitlin Clark? She's fueling a new wave of talent that will only strengthen the WNBA further. Finally, let's consider Clark's legacy. If she maintains this trajectory, we're not just talking about a great player. We could be witnessing the rise of one of the greatest of all time. She has the potential to be to the WNBA what legends like Michael Jordan and LeBron James are to the NBA. However, it's not all smooth sailing. As Clark continues to dominate and draw attention, the pressure mounts. Expectations are sky high. She set a tremendous standard in her rookie season, and everyone expects her to surpass it every game. What happens if she has a bad night or goes through a scoring slump? Critics will be quick to pounce. Then there's the physical toll. The WNBA season is long and demanding, especially for a rookie. Clark is logging more minutes, facing tougher defenses, and traveling extensively. Can she maintain this level of performance through the season and into the playoffs? And let's not overlook the mental strain. With every move scrutinized and every word analyzed, the pressure is immense. Will she be able to stay focused and continue performing at an elite level? So, what do you think? Will Caitlin Clark keep dominating and break all the records we've discussed? Or will other teams find a way to challenge her? And what are your thoughts on Sophie Cunningham's comments? Do you agree that the criticism Clark is facing stems from jealousy? Or do you believe there are legitimate concerns?
The reason why it really, really gets my blood boiling is because it's the exact same thing we see in every other sport. The games where she's not playing have lower viewership.
This has to be a joke. Sue Bird is the last person I'd imagine making these kinds of comments about Caitlin Clark. Seriously, Sue? The epitome of generational talent, someone who's witnessed it all, possesses an in-depth understanding of the game, and navigates the intricate court politics better than anyone else. And now she's behaving this way? Come on!
Some people continue to flip that. Those people, I've seen Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I've seen Shannon Sharpe talk about it. And that's what I just don't understand is they work for ESPN. So why are you hating on a product? It's a business you're in. It's not that they can't.
This is getting unbelievable. Sue Bird, the WNBA's very own walking history book, has targeted Caitlin Clark. And trust me, it's igniting a lot of conversations.
And yet, we don't hear anyone on the Celtics and the Mavs. That is not how this works. It's because there's some players that are just so transcendent that the viewership's going to be insane no matter what.
Great.
And it has nothing to do with the other players,
Seriously, we're talking about Sue Bird here. She's essentially basketball royalty, yet out of nowhere, she launches an attack on Caitlin Clark, the young star who has been driving the league's ticket sales and viewership through the roof. Why? Apparently, it's because ticket prices and TV ratings have dipped since Clark's team, the Indiana Fever, were knocked out of the playoffs. But that's hardly shocking. Clark is a true fan magnet, plain and simple.
And to imply that we should just ignore the impact that Caitlin Clark had and still continues to have on this team, this league, this sport. Nah, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, Sue Bird.
Honestly, just look at the Golden State Valkyries, an expansion team that's already sold out around 18,000 season tickets. Clark doesn't even play for them, yet her influence is undeniable. Still, some people keep twisting the narrative. I've seen Stephen Smith discuss it, I've seen Shannon Sharpe talk about it, and here's what I don't understand. They work for ESPN. Why are they attacking a product that's literally part of their business?
Stephen A. and with Shannon, there's an aspect of them like defending their stances on her. Like, we were right about Caitlin and this is our defense. And I still think there's something twisted there because nobody ever said.
It's not that they can't express their opinions, but Sue didn't just mention it and move on. Oh no, she went all out, even pulling Stephen A. and Shannon Sharpe into the fray. And let's be honest, those two are renowned for their brutally honest takes on everything. So, what exactly is Sue Bird upset about? Is it Stephen A. and Shannon Sharpe calling it as they see it? It's not even like they're wrong.
I don't know how you explain, like, honestly, look at the Golden State Valkyries. It's an expansion team. They've already sold out, I think it's 18,000 season tickets. Caitlin doesn't play there. And yet some people continue to flip that. Those people, I've seen Stephen A. Smith talk about it. I've seen Shannon Sharpe talk about it. And that's what I just don't understand is they work for ESPN. So why are you hating on a product? It's a business you're in. It's not that they can't.
Let's dive into the entire Bird versus Clark drama for a moment. Could this be stemming from bitterness? Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark skyrocketed to become the face of women's basketball almost overnight. She's drawing massive crowds and achieving viewership numbers like no one else ever has. But then Sue steps in, casting shade on anyone who dares to acknowledge the obvious. The WNBA is struggling to keep pace without Clark on the court.
Sue Bird calls out ESPN host for, quote, hating on WNBA playoff ratings after Caitlin Clark's exit. You say, what? Why? Why, y'all? Really? This is where we have to go?
The WNBA tries to portray its achievements as the product of collective advancement. But let's be honest, is Caitlin Clark truly propelling the league forward? Without her, TV ratings drop, ticket sales plunge, and merchandise revenue disappears. The league should be going above and beyond to keep her satisfied, instead of clinging to outdated pay structures that scream, "We don't truly value you." Fans aren't oblivious to this nonsense. Social media is inundated with demands for change. People are highlighting the absurdity of her salary relative to her impact. It's not just a matter of fairness, it's a business issue. You don't underpay the individual who is vital to your survival. That's not only poor optics, it's poor math. Yet, the WNBA seems too busy celebrating minor growth to realize they're engaging in a risky strategy. If they don't evolve, they risk losing not only Clark, but also the entire momentum she has built. Talented players like her are rare. They're once-in-a-generation athletes who can transform a sport. If the WNBA fails to find a way to compensate her appropriately, don't be shocked if other leagues or opportunities come her way.